Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Leo. Welcome back to Yoga with Lynn and Leo.
And welcome to day 3 of our backbending sequencing.
Yes, so hopefully you'll have joined us for our previous 2 videos. For this sequence, you may need to have a couple of foam pads, a blanket and possibly a belt, but it may be that you need no support at all.
Okay, on your mat in Adho, Mukha, Virasana. So if you've been following some of our videos, you'll know what this pose is all about. But be mindful that when you go back onto your heels with your buttocks, that you are connecting with that centre of direction. The lower abdominal area needs to move towards the spine. It's not an aggressive action, it is just a moving back of the back lining of the abdomen to the spine to give you support. And this is really an important action to lift the spine, and you're going to need that in whatever practice that you do, whether it's back bends, forward bends, balancing, whichever. So being in this position and just starting your practice, so breathe, smooth inhalation, exhalation. And when you breathe, be aware of your breath. You're not holding your breath, but you are extending throughout the body. A nice couple of deeper, longer breaths. So quite often we breathe with an irregular breath. Sometimes we hold our breath, so this is a really nice way to start your practice. Coming into Adho Mukha Svanasana now, pressing your fingers down into the floor, and make sure that the wrists are pushing down into the hands to get that really good extension. So this is where we use the floor as our resistance. So the wrists are pushing to the hands are down. Then lift the buttocks as much as you can, lift from the front legs. So the front of the front ankles need to lift, the knees need to lift, above the knees need to lift, through the thigh, up towards the roots of the thighs. And then continue to keep that action. Remember, we were talking about the center of direction, moving that center of direction up towards the spine so you have support. And now bring in the feet, jump or step the feet for Uttanasana. So we know this pose. So Leo's going to jump now. Again, don't worry if it's difficult to keep your hands down on the floor. Sometimes the hamstrings need a little bit of time. Put your hands, as you can see Leo here is putting hands to her shins. What's important about this preparational stage is that you lengthen through the spine. You've got to see that the spine extends, the chest extends, and once you get as much extension as possible, these shoulder blades need to reach towards the back waist. So there's quite a lot of different directions going on. If the hamstrings and legs are stiff, then keep at your practice. You'll be able to get there sooner than you think. Take a breath in and come up. Stand in Tadasana in the center of your mat. Now we're coming for Prasarita Padottanasana. It's a wide extended pose and really beautiful for preparation for back bends, inversions, just to keep the body really nice and supple. What's key with this forward bend is that you have to lengthen through the front of the body, so prepare in your Tadasana. Scan the body from the base all the way through the legs, all the way through the center of the body. Roll your shoulders back and down and lift your sternum and chest. Now take your fingers to your chest and jump those legs. So I'm quite close to Leo here, so I'm going to have to be careful because keep on the good side of her so she doesn't whack that hand into my face. So being in this position now, even though we know we're going to put our hands on our hips in a second, we've got to get the length between the shoulder blades. Now this happens from the extension of the arms into the fingertips, so make sure you're really getting that extension so strongly and breathing. So these arms will help to lengthen these very thick ligaments that join the whole of the back of the shoulder to the spine or the ribs. So go and see that you extend so nicely. Keep that extension, keep the chest lifted, put your hands onto your hips. Roll your shoulders back and down, and you can see this really nice opening through the front of the body. You've got to maintain that as well as keeping the legs strong and straight, and extend into your Prasarita Padottanasana halfway only. When you get to halfway, See that you lengthen the chest forward and push the thighs away from the body. This will help you with the traction of the pose and to create more space for the hinge of the hip. Take your hands down to the floor. And just be here for a few moments. Ground into those outer foot bones, lift the inner ankles, lift through the inner thighs, lift the abdomen. Keep that action and extend the sternum chest. So this is really important stage. Get the spine and the whole of the upper body working. Now, if you find it really challenging, take your hands down, and to get any movement in your spine, you need to take your hands up onto a couple of bricks, or even try it that way, because we learn from so many different ways of practicing. So to come out of the pose now, see if you can ground down into those leg bones, take your hands onto your hips and come up. If that's a problem, pivot your feet in with your hands on the floor and then come up into a standing position. Stand in Tadasana. So remember always to listen to your body, and also to use this as a resource for practice. Do find a teacher, an Iyengar teacher close to you. We're coming down now to the floor exercise of Bharadvajasana. Now this is really challenging because this is Bharadvajasana too, and so many people struggle with this. Now you may be, no problem, you can do this, the hips are flexible, but those of you who find it challenging need to know that there are other options in this. So you can see Leo's got her bricks and her foam pads, and she will go through this with you.
You could try showing yourself without any.
Yes, I will. Yeah. Okay, that's a good idea. So when you come into Bharadvajasana 2, this leg is in a Virasana action, and this leg is in a Padmasana action. So this is the shape of the pose, and it is quite challenging, you can see here, because what we want to do is to get the leg down or to drop the pelvis, but we've got to lift up out of the pelvis, and the arm comes around and holds and then turns. And I do think that we have a video on this, I'm sure we do, in the pose directory. So just tap in Bharadvajasana 2 and I think it will come up. So that is the pose. It is accessible to some people who've got mobility in the hips, but sometimes they take a little bit longer to get that mobility. And this is where I started on a couple of foam pads. It took a long time to get this pose. So the Virasana action comes into the left leg because we're going to our right. And just take your time. If your hips are stiff, then the rolling of the calf is really important. So you can see how Leo is getting hold of her calf and rolling it away from her. And this self-manipulation and massage is really helpful. If your muscles are a little bit tight, you have to see that you manipulate them and take a little bit of time. And if it doesn't happen today, then you can keep your foot in a Padottanasana action. So we'll show you that in a moment. So that's coming. Leo's on a couple of supports because the hip is a little bit stiff at the moment, but determined, you have to still keep this massaging, moving the calf away from the thigh, and keep rolling that action as you start to open in your hips. So it takes a little bit of time to get this action. If you're already sitting in this action, then you can take advantage of being in your Bharadvajasana 2. So also you can use the belt as Leo is here, and you can hold on and get that turning action and lift. So you can see that actually Leo's got a good pose when she's on the support, and it is possible, and gradually it will improve and change. You're going to get that Padottanasana. Now, if this is excruciating and no-go area, then just show with the Padottanasana leg, then you can come into this action and still get that turning, although you're not going to be catching necessarily, although he is putting that around like that. Yeah, that's a really nice way of doing. it may be that you're at this stage, so just persevere with it, and whichever stage you're at, then that's the one that you will practice. So we're coming to the other side of Bharadvajasana 2 now. So coming this side. That's good. So you can see that there's a little bit of preparation going on. Those of you who can just flip into this, then obviously be careful too about your body. Don't just keep overdoing. You've got to see that you're getting the lift out of the pelvis. It's a bonus to be quite stiff in this position, because then you're not dropping your pelvis, you're not dropping your leg. So while Leo's just sorting, I'm just going to show you a variation that happens quite a lot. Now, I did show that in the demonstration, is that people who are quite flexible quite often roll into it, but you've got to see that this area from the base of the abdomen lifts up, so that you're in this really upward position. Okay, how's that go?
It takes a little while.
It takes a little while and turning. So if there is stiffness, then that's why we practice yoga, to get a little bit more mobility in the pelvis and the hips. And these are very testing poses. They really give us a measurement of where we are with our mobility and flexibility. So it only improves when you practice. So practice without pulling your knees, and practice in a really safe way. So we're coming out of this pose now. It's always nice to include a twist in your preparations for back bends. We're coming into Adho Mukha Svanasana, coming into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. So this is quite a strong action on the whole of the upper body. So when I was talking about the Bharadvajasana action coming into Bharadvajasana, this is where it's really important that you get this lift and extension, because in your Urdhva Mukha, you're going to be lifting up and getting this extension through the spine, as we were working in the Prasarita Padottanasana. So they're all very linked, very much linked. So although we're not doing lots of back bends, we're just preparing the spine. So this may go into 20 videos. Okay, so we come for Adho Mukha Svanasana. Okay, now it's really key that you get so much extension in this pose. Now, we're starting off like this, but we will show you different ways of how to get the right distance. And it's not what you think it is. We always find our comfort zone in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Boy, do we. So what I'm going to ask Leo to do now is take her feet back more, so that, she has space for her body. Her body is really long. When you come for a back bend, you'll have enough room for the spine. So now look forward and lift the chest like a cobra. You've got to lift that chest. And now come forward. Now some of you will come into a plank position. Some of you will be able to come into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. That's it. Now see that you push those feet back and come onto the tops of the feet if you're able to. Now press down. This is where the wrists become very important. You've got to treat those wrists as posts and push down. And from there, lift all the way through the front of the body. Lift up, extend up, reach up, breathe. Now just be there for a few moments. Breathe through the front body. Breathe broadly into the ribs and release. So we're in the poses, being aware of the energy, the distribution of the energy in the breath. Tucking your toes under, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Okay, now push those legs back. We're coming into a bent leg position, so you've got to really straighten those legs very strongly, so you open up those fibers now to come into Adho Mukha Virasana, which is a forward bending action. And just be there for a few moments, Just stretching out the back. And remember, there's no greater way to connect with your spine again with the front body moving to the back body. So you have to see that lower abdomen really helps to soothe any tight muscle tissue and fiber of the back. We're coming for Makarasana now. So it's a prone position, lying on your front. So this can be quite challenging for a lot of people. Now, a little bit of preparation is required here. So you can see that Leo's on her wrists. It's a really good action to create a fist with your hand, rest down onto your wrist. And you can see there's a lot of moving around here. So you have to see that you use your feet to push those legs away and reach those legs away, because you know we're going to be lifting and energizing the back now. So in Makarasana, it's always a good thing to reach those legs behind you and then extend them back. That's it. Okay, and then come onto the tops of the feet. That's it. Okay, so now you're going to place your hands behind. You can see here Leo's got her fingers interlaced, and the hands go behind the back of the head. And then we take a nice inhalation and exhalation, and then on the next inhalation, lift the front of the body up. Yes, so you can see lifting the front of the body, lifting the legs, and then releasing. So you have to see that you create that length with the legs again, push them away from you. That's it. That's it. Keep the breadth and broadness in the spine. And let's go again. Take a breath in and lifting up off the floor, legs and arms, lifting up. See that you lift the upper body, push those legs away, and now come down. So you don't hold for very long. So we come one more time. One more time. Oh look, Leo thinks she's going to finish now. We've got one more time. She was hoping. Okay, and now normal inhale, exhale, and on the inhale, lift up. Lift the legs and lift the arms. That's it. Look forward. Push the back of the head into the palms, and then releasing down. And just fold your arms and rest your forehead onto your arms. Adho, Mukha, Virasana. And just be there for a few moments. Just stretching out the back. Okay, coming up. Now we want you to come into a supine action now. So lying on your back with your legs bent slightly. And just put your hands onto your ribs. Put your hands onto your ribs. And just be there for a few moments. Let the throat become soft. Soften around the facial features. Just see that the whole of the facial features become passive. Releasing the eyes, releasing the back teeth, releasing the throat. And just observe your breath. And now you have your hands on your ribs. Just breathe into your palms just for a few moments. Take 2, 3, 4 breaths just to finish the sequencing and just to come back to that slightly deeper sense of awareness. So if you're enjoying that breath, then just stay there for a little longer. We're going to come out of the pose now. So Leo is going to roll to her right side and come into a seated position. And crossing the legs.
So thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you again for another in our backbending series. Namaste.